So how has, what about the relevant technologies and there are so many technologies that are providing a challenge to and also opportunity for farmers, in farmers and in healthcare. One of them was, of course, in the late 80s and 90s, it was the digital revolution, the idea of the internet. And some of us were there at the birth of the internet came from around 1994, when the young internet was about to store and forward information. And it was not still, digital technology was not still very much used in manufacturing or used in production. It was really an elite group in terms of maybe the university, maybe the industry and the government. And it was very, very limited. But now we know the digital revolution is upon us, and this technology is more recently artificial intelligence related to creations of techniques, etc. And whether you're talking about diagnostics, therapies, manufacturing, you're talking about distribution, or you're talking about service delivery, AI has adopted, and in some countries, in terms of distribution, we are aware of robots being used to pack some of these products. We are aware of, in terms of digital technology, we are aware of doctors operating on patients when they are in different parts of the world. Telemedicine, as some people call it. We are aware of this. And these provide opportunity, but also provide serious challenges. What are some of the challenges that they provide? Some of them is that some of them can be very invasive in terms of data privacy, etc., etc. By this I mean, for instance, health data are some of the most private and personal information in law. Health, family, finances, general security, as read under Article 29 and 238 of the Constitution. These are some of the most private matters. Go through new technologies to share more information more easily. So you can share information more easily, which can be a plus in the sense of you don't need to go and look for history of a patient in cold files in the dusty rooms. The information can be more easily accessible using digital and related AI technology. But on the flip side is that you may not easily control how that information may be shared. It may be shared beyond the doctors, nurses, and clinical officers who need to know. It may be shared beyond the family who need to know for health reasons. So these are challenges which some countries are trying to look at them, but most countries still have not really looked at them. Some of the countries that have started looking at even these issues of AI in broad spectrum, including health, are like the UK. They have been discussing and passed relevant law, and the EU, etc. I know that Kenya has the 2019 Data Protection Act, but still a lot of work needs to be done with respect to that. So, but the second last component I deal with is these issues of what is authentication, because that question was also posed to us by Anti-Counterfeit Authority very specifically. What is authentication? What are some of the technologies of authentication that are available, and whether they are being applied appropriately in the private sector, and whether these technologies are a panacea, or I would call it silver bullet, or to combat counterfeiting. Authentication, for lawyers, we also call it validation, verification, legitimation. And authentication is a very difficult issue in technology, but also in law. Many of the products, this is the other flip side that I was talking about. Technology makes things better, easier, faster, including in health, pharma and in healthcare. But on the other flip side, you can find diagnostic kits, you can find medicines or therapies, you can find surgical equipment or facilities that are fake, are contraband, are forged, are counterfeit, are pirated, are infringed, have infringed intellectual property, but look as good as or sometimes better than the genuine, the legit ones. I was involved in a discussion with somebody who came from GSK. Somebody who, let's compare from outside. Compare for attention. Okay, there was a time that we were discussing these issues, and there was an officer who came from GSK, and they were showed two types of metakelfin, and was asked to choose which was original because he came from that industry and from that. And when he picked the one which looked more gisty, more elegant, and the person was told, do you know what? That's actually not your product. That is actually the fake one, which many times means that the people who do counterfeiting invest quite a lot in packaging, labeling, etc., in a way that it really may think that this is the right one when the content may not be it. So verification is a very, very difficult issue, but it can be done, and I know that industry, Kenya Bureau of Standards have standards, and also industry manufacturers, etc., have standards, and also ACA, Anti-Counterfeit Authority, helps quite a lot in that regard. Some of the laws that are important in this regard are the Pharmacy and Poisons Act, because as lawyers we must talk about laws as well. The Food, Drugs and Chemical Substances Act, the KEMSA Act, and the Pharmacy and Poisons Rules. They are very, very important. Of course, there are also World Health Organization and related standards. So I think when we are doing authentication, we must do appropriate labeling, we must do appropriate packaging. Many times it will be good to check the diamond mark of quality under the Standards Act of Kenya, the one that establishes the KEBS, Kenya Bureau of Standards, and almost every country has their Bureau of Standards. We should verify that proper testing has been done before the registration of the relevant drugs, among others. Finally, because I still have a year. Do I still have a year? And I'm rushing when I do have a year. Okay, fine. Finally, the issue is that there are important laws other laws that I need to mention, like the anti-counterfeit, the law on anti-counterfeiting, which is Kenya and other countries have it. Anti-Counterfeit Act, which is now Cap 130A. It has been reviewed over the years. Of course, it created initially the Anti-Counterfeit Agency, whose name later on changed to authority to give it. I'm told that in the government, authority is higher than agency. Because that was also an issue of, do you call it board, do you call it authority, do you call it etc. So Anti-Counterfeit Authority is a very important player in this regard, and they have also important regulations, and this is a file of some of the cases they have handled. Some of them, of course, would affect farmers and as well as healthcare generally. So those are some of them. There is also other institutions that are important are the Kenya Copyright Board, Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service. How is that important? Because they deal with the plants, including where, plants are used quite a lot in Kenya and in Africa for herbal medicine. or complementary medicine, but also in terms of developing conventional medicine. So KEFIS is very, very important. KEMRI, Kenya Medical Research Institute, and there is also the issue of NACOSTI, National Commission for Science and Technology, KIPI, National Science, Technology and Innovation, sorry. NACOSTI is National Commission on Science, Technology and Innovation. It used to be called NCST. Then there is also KIPI, Kenya Industrial Property Institute, whose main role is to grant and register patents. And I've seen some colleagues with whom I sat in at the Kenya KIPI board at one point. So these institutions, Industrial Property Tribunal, whenever you have some disputes, for example, regarding some of these infringement, because many counterfeits are also infringing patent, they're also infringing trademark. So you could go also to KIPI has a lot of information on some of these. There are also relevant ministries which oversee the policy framework. The ministry is responsible for industrialization, the ministry is responsible for health, the ministry is responsible for agriculture, among others. It's a very important player because some issues would require investigation and arrest, and the Kenya Copyright Board works with the police officers very, very closely including inspectors to check matters that are counterfeit. Some of them may relate to health. I would stop there and say that I have discussed some of these issues in detail in this book, Intellectual Property. I have a newer version. This one is the one I've been reading every day. The book which I wrote, Intellectual Property and Innovation in Kenya and Africa. I've discussed most of the issues in that. I would stop there and hand over to the mic to the facilitator. Thank you, moderator.
Sorry, the HDMI, should I put it over there? And then,
I'm here to represent the of course. My name is John Mwangi. I represent Authentic Network, a German company, and we deal with authenticity and traceability. And we're a young company. We started in 2016, and we have indulged in. So we deal in essentially a traceability and authenticity seal, in the sense that a barcode is a form of authenticity seal, and as is a QR code. And if you see the nature of the involvement between the two, the barcode was created in 1949. It was almost 50 years until the QR code was created. And essentially what that means is, in those seals, they represent information. You scan them, and information is received. A barcode has an increment of about 100 bars to be able to store the information. A QR code, adversely, has an increment of almost 1,000 bars to store the information. We have developed a seal over in Germany that embeds a blockchain code into a seal, essentially. And within a blockchain code is billions and up to trillions of incremental codes of information. And essentially what that means is, if somebody is trying to replicate, photocopy, mimic the same seal that is in the QR code or the barcode, if they photocopy in a normal photocopier and then somebody else scans it, it will show the same information. But in the blockchain code, those billions and trillions of increments that exist cannot be photocopied simply. The nature of the code that's been embedded in each specific seal. And Embedded in our seal, we also have a three-pronged provision of solutions. We have the seal, we have an app, and we have your phone. Upon scanning the seal with your own phone, and it goes from the most basic of phones, and it can also work both offline and online. Upon scanning, this is where the traceability nature comes into play. It provides the provision of the seal. So, like let's say the company who has put the seal on their product. If their customer scans it, it provides on their dashboard a pin accurate to 5 meters of every single scan that is made. So essentially, for data analytics purposes and for also for policing purposes, for example with the ACA, it provides that accessibility to where each positive scan. Adversely, upon that dashboard, it also provides where every negative scan is. What that means is when your products are counterfeited, when somebody has copied your whole sticker and put it on their products, from healthcare to veterinary care to the ranges are infinite. It also provides the negative scan as to where that product has been scanned from. So, with the example of ACA, the policing tool works in the sense that they can know, they can see a hub built on the map where every single negative is. So they can see here there's a cluster of counterfeits that are occurring here. And then from there you proceed accordingly. So this is an example of our product. This is our 3.3 evolution product. We are working on a seal that is smaller than 3.2 centimeters. This one at the moment is a bit bigger, but we are working on that evolution. So here we have QR code to get the app. And then this code, authentic, this is the verification. It's a check. It's symbolic. It's our logo itself. It's symbolic of the check of authenticity. And embedded within this green nature is the cryptographic code itself. So this is an example of the scanning procedure in which you scan it with your mobile phone. It verifies if it's original or if it's fake. Additionally, it is also a marketing tool. Upon scanning, you as our customer, you have the option, free of charge, within the whole agreement that we would incur, to put whatever marketing tools and link you want to put in the scanning dashboard. So not only is there the verification, but there is also the additional piece where, so usually what people put is website, catalog, in the sense of like instructions, they put expiry dates, they put their contacts, and then also, if it's negative, it also puts a reporting tool. And we have embedded within our tool not only a reporting tool to the company of production, but we have also already included the Anti-Counterfeit Authority. And we have mentioned that you can report it to them directly. It puts it directly to the link to be able to report it. So that is a three-pronged approach. The seal, application, and the dashboard. You have verification, you have business analytics, you have marketing. This is a lot of things embedded into one. So it's assumed that it's very expensive. We offer it for as little as 3 shillings a seal. And with the seal, you are granted access to all three of these very valuable tools, especially as a businessman, but also as people of posterity, as people who care. I'll give you an example. During COVID, we were all aware that the value chain of importing, exporting, and whatnot was severely violated, and to the point you can't ship products in, and you have to sell things here. Everything was messed up. There's a company I used to work for that had agrochemical products, and they had no access to it from March 2020 all the way to June 2022, because the production was in Germany and it was just complicated to be able to ship it. They only make it on demand and whatnot. That product here in Kenya, in those 2 years, generated $500,000 of value, 63 million shillings. Na unasikia huku Kenya hatuna hiyo product, lakini hiyo product inauza. Think about how damning that is for you. Your sweat, your blood is there, generating money for others. People are buying it because it's a trusted product. They respect it, they want it. Yet you yourself have not had a single millimeter of that product for 2 years. And 63 million shillings are gone. Combat. It is not a romance tool. It is not a novelty tool. It is not something to show that you are progressive and what. It is to save your business and to guarantee your customers are getting what is authentic. Hence our name. We have use cases all over Africa. We were based in West Africa mostly, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Mali before everything that happened, in Ghana, and in Thailand. Unfortunately, the standards that they had in Europe, they didn't have those problems there. So we've come here to try and help our own market. And me as an African person, that's something I'm passionate about. Because we in Africa, we are the next world leaders. With certain dynamics, with certain actions to ensure such. So with our use cases, we have worked with malaria medicines. We have worked over 30 billion Cote d'Ivoire with delivery, and we worked in collaboration with the. We also worked with Ralph Martindale. They're in Cote d'Ivoire, and we also worked with COVID. COVID helped us. We ensured the genuine masks were delivered, but also not only genuine masks delivered, it also tells the producer where their masks have been delivered. So we're working with the Cote d'Ivoire government. Not only will they verify that the products are genuine, but they can see, they can authenticate the details on the dashboard exactly where each of those masks have reached. So if they're going to the remote areas, the villages, people are very devious, people are very mischievous, and they can promise to deliver something but they don't do so. This is a tool to ensure that that action is done, essentially. We also work with Maya Berger. It is another German medical company that works primarily in North Africa. And we partner with dealers, we partner with, let me give an example. If you're an agrochemicals provision company, you deal with agrovets. You don't just sell from your shop. You deal with many people. We partner with all those people, and then we provide promotion deals where if you scan, your price is lowered a bit, or if you scan, you generate points, and you can subscribe to them and then withdraw them when it's viable. You know, it is a whole tool that you can package a whole mirage of ideas and of business opportunities in order to action. So why choose authentic of the rest? As I compared earlier, with the blockchain code, the barcode, the QR code, the hologram, and the image recognition. If you look at copy protection, security level, offline functionality, the value-added services, the marketing, the traceability, the data analytics, and then the effort and cost, we are the most viable. I would say a hologram works perfect just as we do. How much does that cost? It's expensive. So is a RFID, a microchip. That's also expensive. It's a whole piece of hardware. We are a piece of paper that you stick onto your product. Another thing, with our sticking solution, we have a tamper-proof seal, in the sense that if you are to remove a seal from one product, the original seal, and put it onto another product, that product automatically, the fibers of the blockchain code are damaged, and automatically that product scans as a negative. We have looked at every nook and cranny, every corner of this solution to ensure that your products are valued and that your customers are valued. And me, as a Kenyan, I want to make sure that Kenyans themselves are valued. They get what they pay for the hard work that they've done. And that is why we are here.
Thank you.
Yes. Any questions, or is it for later?
For later.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe Bizangi, for that very powerful presentation. Allow me to now move to the panel discussions, where we have our very own forum, Mr. Juma Ruti, a representative from the Common.
Thank you. Good morning. Joshua Fleck. Sit on behalf of my colleague, Dr. Wilberforce Kashoki. He was not able to be within this particular forum. Let me tell you that he's out of town for an engagement. Having said that, I work with the Pharmacy and Poisons Board and the Drug Regulatory Authority in the department or unit called Drug Crime Investigations. Coming today is to get to learn from this particular forum, but it's good the topic today we are dealing with innovations, technology in healthcare. I say that it's very important because of the purpose of enforcement, where we delve so much to be able to enforce products that we would like to identify that are falsified within the market. I must indicate that the Pharmacy and Poison Board does regulate products and a number of pharmaceutical products in the country with the mandate that is bestowed within the Act, the Cap 244. And within the market, when we get products that are falsified within our domain, we work very closely to be able to get to identify and try to enforce people who are involved. For this particular moment, and the issue of authentication is also very critical, very important, where the board also takes with that a lot of keen interest that will assist in terms of identity and easy way of enforcement. I know the issues of how which products need to be put on those authentications is a discussion that is still going on within the ministry, and Farmers and Poison Board is also a stakeholder in getting into that particular positions. So today then that we are handling this matter, we will be very happy to see how we can discuss together and shape on the movement of that particular component of authentication of farmer products, to be able to assist in detection and follow up and identify products within the market that are legit and those ones are not legit. So thank you very much. That's what I'll say.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. My name is Dr. James Mokoro. I think my name was counterfeited by the Customs Authority. Yeah, it's MO, not MU. I'm the current chairman of Kenya Association of Pharmaceutical Industry. Brief overview of what that entails. Short form is CAPI. We are an association of member companies, around 35, that does innovation of health products and technologies, cutting across pharmaceutical products and also medical devices. So our core mandate is actually to innovate products and health technologies for the purpose of elevating disease control, or rather for a healthier nation or a healthier world. And as such, any attributes to counterfeit health products and technologies is actually not within our expectation, that we need to spend our resources to innovate systems like what our colleagues are doing in authentication, but ours is specifically for the control of diseases and the management as such, and to promote a healthy world. So any form of counterfeiting of our products is key to, we take keen interest in trying to see how that affects our population, because look at a mother in the rural areas who is your mother, who has been given a pharmaceutical product that is counterfeited. Definitely you'll find it doesn't have the active ingredient as claimed. So as such, the mother will be expected to heal, and you'll be sending money for treatment that has already developed resistance, because then it moves from that strain to another strain. So the cost of treatment is actually expected to rise because of wrong medications. I would like to look at counterfeited medication as a form of terrorism, because you do understand terrorism, the current nature of terrorism is weaponry, and we have biological weapons also. Biological weapons is what normally we use in terms of deal with the opponents biologically into their human system. So if you look at counterfeiting of medications as a form of terrorism, you will see how now that has mutated into killing humans without their knowledge. Yeah? Because the intention is you've taken a blood sugar anti-glucose product, expecting your blood glucose to go down, but then it's counterfeit. What happens to you? Definitely, the blood sugar will remain uncontrolled, and you know what that causes. Yeah, so it leads to death. Likewise, if you look at products like anti-TB products, which are also counterfeited, you also look at HIV products, ARVs for that matter. You expect them to reduce the viral load, but what is happening? It's not, because the counterfeiters are in a hurry to make money. Their interest is not the well-being of the human being. So theirs is to make as much money as they can. So they don't look at the quality aspects of these products. Is it able to give you that treatment that you expect? On the same, I want to also look at just a basic example. Forget about a pharmaceutical product. Look at a medical device like a condom. You expect to use it for the purpose of prevention of HIV or STDs. And then you find it's counterfeited. Then you find it has holes because it did not go through the stringent control measures of production. So what happens? You believe you're okay, only to realize later you've contacted the disease. So I want you to look at it from that angle, what the counterfeiters are doing to the human population. When you look at the narrative out there, which I think we are facing a big problem as the innovator companies, the narrative is the innovator products are expensive. So what the counterfeiters are doing is try and make them cheaper for the general population. So that's how they avoid using the correct active ingredients in the products, so that you are able to get it cheaper. Of course, they will produce, so the cost of production is still there. It's only that the cost of the ingredients is not matched with the expected efficacy outcomes. So at the end of the day, yeah, they are giving you a cheaper product, but it's not going to solve your problem. So now we need to run out there with a narrative of quality, because no one is talking about quality, it's only talking about price. Yeah, so, and we've seen, we carried out some survey in the market, and we realized even counterfeit products or the illicit or falsified medications are even more expensive than the innovator products. Why is it that they are even priced higher? When you are told this one is 1,500 per dose, and this one is 2,500, what are you supposed to do? Definitely you will say, I think the 2,500 is genuine, right? So you'll go for it, only to realize it's counterfeit. Just like what Professor said, you see these counterfeiters are very smart. They have gone into packaging, they perfect packaging that even they outsmart the genuine product. So you will look at it and say, this is the best. Yeah, you believe it, you go home, it has nothing. So basically those are the narratives that we need to run with in terms of quality of the products that we are giving to our general population. And our collaboration with the Pharmacy and Poisons Board and all the other stakeholders, the testing labs, is to try now and be proactive in terms of not following the product to the market. Because you follow a product to Webuye, which came through JKI, what happens? You send an officer there to go and do, you will sleep there, you will pay per diem, you will pay transport, accommodation. So it will be more expensive to go and sample in Webuye when you can sample at the port of entry, do the analysis, before you release it to the market. So now we need to move and be proactive in terms of, let's have at least even 1 week, hold the consignment or release it under seal or under quarantine, do the test. We have technology now, that's where technology comes in, that can be able to test the active ingredient within a very short time. Then you are able to release this product for sale. So that one will be able to cut down on the cost of analysis or testing that we are doing in post-market surveillance. So some of those are the asks that we work to collaborate with the government to undertake. To finalize, you do understand, I think you have seen when reports where cancer drugs are falsified. Now, what do you expect? Your mother or your relative has cancer, and have you not wondered why cancer is so rampant nowadays, more especially in the African continent? It's because we are taking chemicals that are very harmful to our health. Instead of taking drugs to cure, we are taking chemicals, because you never know what is in those, because we have even heavy metals in those products that are counterfeited, because these guys have no technology or no quality management systems to oversee contamination, because they are in a hurry to make the product. So that's why you are seeing high cases of cancer. Now, when you counterfeit a cancer drug, already the chemical you are using is already harmful, and then you have counterfeited. The patient expects to be well, but he will not be. So, and also you saw what happened on counterfeiting of COVID vaccine. Yeah, you expect to be prevented from COVID, but then what you are taking has nothing. So I want us to go out there, make as much noise, create as much awareness to teach the general public on how to use the technology that the technology companies are coming up with, so that we are able to create that awareness for them not to use. Now, when you have done the authentication, what do you do with that information? Yeah? Okay, like they have come up with a wonderful app. You've seen it's counterfeit. And of course, the counterfeiters also have linked that code of theirs to their website, just like what the others are doing. So those are the shortcomings of the technology, that the counterfeiters are also counterfeiting the same technology that is supposed to fight counterfeit. So it's an animal, it's an elephant in the room, which we have to work together to solve out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. James Okoro, the O was inadvertently done. My apologies for that. Mr. James Juma Mashuriti, please kindly, 5 minutes.
Yes, good morning, still morning, everybody. My name is Juma Moshuruti. I work for Novartis. I deal with anti-falsified medicines across the continent of Africa. And there are 50 slides, but I think the folks to squeeze them into very, very brief notes. So I'll try as much as possible to get into that space. I think one of the key things that we are usually left around when we deal with medicine is we would like to ban counterfeited medicine together with other products. I think counterfeited medicine is a different ballgame, because this is something, you're not going to buy a watch to wear, you're not going to buy a suit, but you're going to buy medicine for you to get healed. But someone in between thinks that you should not get healed, but you should get profit. So that is the essence of counterfeit. And when you are dealing with counterfeited medicine, in most cases, for pharma company like Novartis, it's a very, very serious issue. So counterfeit, we know it, but one of the other aspects is about theft, because why theft is banded there together is because medicines are stored in defined conditions. So if a medicine has been stolen from a cold chain and stored in conditions that cannot be verified, it ceases in efficacy and stability of that medicine. So it becomes a risk to the patient. And then we have tampering medicine that is almost expiring, person extending the expiration dates. And then we have illegal diversion. That is a medicine that is not meant for, like say, Kenya, because of our tropical humid condition, is meant for a country like Europe, but it has been illegally brought here. You find that the storage condition, you are told you should store it below 25 degrees or below 30 degrees, but we rarely look into that. We just look at the cost, and at the end, it impacts on the safety of the patient. I wanted just to talk about technology. I think this one has been spoken so much, but in terms, just to save on time, I would like to talk about what the industry does, especially what Novartis does. There are two aspects. I think the previous speakers have really captured it so well. There is the counterfeited pack, and then there is the counterfeited medicine. Those are two different things, because what we've seen is that we've had people who have counterfeited a pack of medicine, and then inside they've put a genuine medicine. So they've tampered. So they've done the combination of counterfeiting and tampering. And we've seen that with vials, with oncology, cancer drugs. We've seen that in various methods. So there is that aspect. And then there is the aspect of counterfeiting of the real medicine. The tablet, the liquid included in the vial, or any form of liquid. And we've seen all these pose a great risk to a patient. So what does the industry do? I think one of the key things, especially like what we do in Novartis, is we have moved the technology from innovating about medicine now into protecting our packs. And one of the key things that we do about that is we say that we must be able to detect the pack using technology to ensure that that pack is genuine. I think that is the first step. Before you buy medicine, because you cannot see the tablet, you cannot see, you look at the pack. If that pack is genuine, then it becomes, at least you develop some sense of confidence. So what Novartis has done, has come with a technology is called mobile verification. This is technology whereby at the manufacturing of the pack, we ensure that we have security features that are not visible to the naked eye. So when a patient buys a pack of medicine in Nairobi here and brings it to one of the associates who has that app, he can scan it, and using high resolution cameras, what happens is that there will be a message that will pop up on the iPhone telling that that pack is genuine. Usually says NSS features detected, Novartis security features detected on the pack. And if those features are not detected, then what happens is that it shows fail. So at the very instance, even before you consume or before it is stored, you have to ensure that that pack is of high integrity. So that is what Novartis does. And this has been there for quite a long period of time. It is very, very intensive technology, but in terms of the user, it becomes very easy for you to use. You just need an iPhone, and because of all the IPR issues, it is still exclusive to Novartis because of IPR of the developers and everybody. But the great thing about this is this technology is available in most parts of Kenya. We have Novartis associates whom, when you call, they'll just come with their phone and they'll just scan that pack. And within 2 minutes, they will tell you that this pack is genuine or this pack has been counterfeited. And out of that, we can still trace that pack and tell you that this pack is not meant for this market. It is meant for a different market because of the details that are contained in that, just by you scanning it. So that is one of the key technologies that is there. Oh, and then there is one that we call Authentifield. Authentifield by Novartis, it uses this gadget. This gadget is called Authentifield by Novartis. That is why it stays still a copyright thing. And what this does is that we look at the medicine. And once we've looked at that particular medicine, if the blister is transparent, what happens is I can just scan it, pair it through Bluetooth with my phone, and a message will pop up on my phone telling me whether that tablet has been counterfeited or not. So that is the space in terms of what technology has done for us, and we are still continuing to innovate, because one of the key things about Novartis and other pharma companies is safety of the patients. Because we all look at counterfeiting products, and he has already mentioned that most of these counterfeiters, one of the biggest challenges about technology nowadays is that as you innovate, someone else is also looking at you to counter your innovation. We've seen that with SMS codes used in different parts of the world, whereby at one time we thought that this one was everything that people could do because of the phone penetration. But what we've seen, we are increasingly seeing that with the scratch and input of that SMS code, you find that some people have hacked into that system, and you can put your fake counterfeited medicine or counterfeited product into that. So that one is not sufficient, and that is why as companies, and especially in the pharma care, as I said, is not about design. This one is about life. So, and if it's about life, I think ACA and other stakeholders, we should look at it, because a healthy population also contributes greatly to the economy of the nation. And as someone said, it's when you have an unhealthy population, fake medicines circulating around, it's a recipe for chaos. People will not be going for work, production will be going low, and the rest. And the other aspect also in terms of counterfeited medicine, we've also assumed that they will be cheaper. But research has consistently shown that counterfeited medicine are priced almost the same as genuine medicine. And what really happens is that at that particular point, when you're purchasing, if you're a good bargainer like most Kenyans are, by the time a person tells you 100 and you say you have 70 bob, he agrees very fast. Just beware that. How come that a trader will be able to shed 30 shillings within 2 minutes? What are the profit margins? So those are some of the telltale signs, and as Novartis, we are committed to the technology. I think as we've really invested into technology of protecting our brands, and shortly I will share with him, he'll show a video as we discuss in terms of what this gadget can do. So happy to take in any other question that can arise out of it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Juma Mashuruti. We still have Mr. Juma Mashuruti and I want to say Mr. James Mokoro in Breakout 3.3. So they'll still be there to talk about innovation in terms of technologies.
So is it possible for police to be allowed to do this work so that it can be used through the law?
Yes. Actually, in many situations, one of the problems, it's still a challenge, that one of the problems is that one, there should be a relevant officer in terms of arrest. Two, that in many cases they also require a complainant. They actually require a complainant because is there a complainant? And that has been one of the problem challenges. And I think the officer card from an ACA can also add that. Because similar issues occur at the Kenya Copyright Board. And in some cases, what has arisen is that sometimes you find that there was a complainant because the Kenya Copyright Board has inspectors, who have been trained, who work with them, but they can also work with the police general police. But then, one, is there a complainant? Two, is there a relevant officer who is gazetted to do those arrests because it is not just illegal. Three, sometimes there may be a complaint and then the other person want to solve the problem with the people they were complaining against behind the back of, say, anti-counterfeiting authority, or it happened in the case of Kenya Copyright Board. They are negotiating. The person who complained to you as the agency or authority is now negotiating to resolve it behind your back, and then you are left with the problem. Because you can't go to court and you can't process these things without a complainant and without an appropriate arresting officer. So this is still a challenge, and we hope that the more work can be done in terms of, especially law, also to make law easier on that.
Can you?
Yes.
This is a pill, and this is a pill. Can you tell the difference? Difficult, isn't it? One of them will cure you, the other will harm you. It's fake, falsified, counterfeit. Fake medicines are more sophisticated and widespread than ever, posing a danger to patient health around the world. Since 2020, our collaboration with law enforcement has helped seize approximately 6.8 million units of falsified medicines. But detection of fakes is complex and lengthy. At least, until now. Introducing AuthentiField by Novartis. AuthentiField is a pocket-sized sensor device, developed together with our technology partner Spectral Engines, to test the authenticity of solid medication samples locally and get results quicker than ever before. Paired with a mobile application, AuthentiField scans samples using near-infrared spectroscopy. This is compared against a cloud-based reference library of hundreds of genuine Novartis products, meaning results are ready in minutes, allowing for further escalation, investigation, and rapid reporting. And by empowering hundreds of trained Novartis associates around the world to test these samples, our network of authentifiers, we are turning a global problem into a local solution.
We are moving faster than before, decreasing authentication time from an average of 6 weeks to a maximum of 5 days.
Mission is to cover our 100 priority products by 2024.
Which means can more quickly report incidents to the relevant health authorities and law enforcement and protect patients faster.
With Authentifil, we are accelerating our efforts in combating falsified medicines and advancing the Novartis purpose of reimagining medicine to improve and extend people's lives. Want to learn more? Visit go/FakeMads. Interested in joining our town?
Thank you so much for this.
If you have nothing to say, raise up your hand. Javier also is here. Then we have Hara Shijinjiro, I don't know how to put it. Then we have Mark Kodai and Paul Ramara from South Africa. The others are from JPO or JTO? JPO.
I'm from Danfoss.
Wasu is from Danfoss. These are IPR agents or IPR owners. They have dealt with law enforcement. There is no presentation, so that you don't worry about the other side. We are waiting. Our moderator will chip in any time as we go. So in law enforcement practices, I want us to go straight to law enforcement practices. And since they have been practicing law enforcement, whether it's multi-agency, whether it's individual agencies doing their operations, whether it's in our public sector and all that, we will be having enforcement high and wide. Wherever we are, some of you understand enforcement. The Kenyan part of it, you know, we have multi-agency inspections or operations. So at the port of entries, I don't know how you guys have been dealing with in your various places or various institutions that you come from. So Wasu, I'll give you a few minutes to tell us how enforcement takes place. What is enforcement and how does it take place back home?
I'm speaking about it in the UAE.
In UAE, yes.
And law enforcement authorities to take these measurement or measures and the procedure forward. I want to share experience with you with a case I have worked in the Middle East, cross-border, which is, I think this highlight the partnership and the coordination police, enforcement, administrative authorities as well. We had a case before I joined Danfoss. I was working in a firm called a container in China who landed in Jabal Ali. And then we informed customs the container left Jabal Ali and went to Al Aqaba and changed as well the papers. Every time the container land in any port, they change the papers. So the next port will have a different name of importer, different name of companies. And in Jordan, we had as well, they changed the container, they changed the papers, and we informed the Saudi Arabia customs, and then we seized the container there. Through this journey, we have learned who is the manufacturer in China, which we took action. We informed Dubai Customs, Dubai Police about as well the people who are involved in this operation. We did as well raid on them in Dubai. And in Jordan, it was only transit where they changed the papers. And then we informed, as I said, the Saudi Arabian customs, and they seized it on the border. And this was one of the very, very important cases because we experienced the cooperation between different agencies and different countries as well. So I believe that the relationship between public sector and private sector is a key. And it's a partnership more than a professional relationship because it's a win-win situation. And one information is dealt with very confidentiality. This is as well a key. So this is in brief my experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wasu.
Thank you.
The next one is from the Japanese point of view. We want to have your experience from Hara or Maki. Any of you can take it. What is your experience in enforcement of intellectual property?
I'd like to.
And how is it done in your own country?
In Japan, customs enforces IPR infringing goods at the border. Japan's IPR border enforcement provides greater protection than the TRIPS agreement. So customs carry out a wide range of enforcement, such as patent infringement. Control in domestic by police. So police are right holders and initiate investigation.
Okay. So most of the time it is the customs that do your enforcement on intellectual property back in Japan. So
something.
Yes.
Yeah. So so because IP rights is a private right, I think under our system, basically those the enforcement of IP rights should be done by.
So that they can be able to see.
That's for the camera.
Yeah.
So as my colleague said, he was explaining about the border enforcement. And there's another two enforcement measures in Japan. One is a civil, and the private parties can go to the court and enforce the right holders can enforce their right, and they can get damage from the infringer. And the other one is, of course, criminal enforcement, and that should be done in Japan by police and the prosecutors, and eventually they will go to the court and settle the case. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the Japanese point of view. I think ugali anakula jana. You know ugali. Ugali is.
Ugali, yeah, I know.
Yes, and that is what enforcement is.
Yeah, so I think, I need ugali.
So from the South African point of view, and his own personal experience on enforcement of IP.
Yeah. So. Yeah, thank you so much. I believe I can speak on both jurisdictions. So in South Africa, there are essentially three key government agencies that assist in the fight against counterfeiting. You have customs, as you have carrier here. You also have the Department of Trade and Industry. You also have the police. So customs is the first line of defense. They are at the ports of entry, and they are the ones responsible for detention of goods before they come into South Africa. For anything that goes into the market, you have the police and some members of the Department of Trade and Industry doing enforcement, open market. But of course, anything coming in, what you ought to do, as the ACA is now doing, is we have a custom recordal program in South Africa where a brand holder can, as an initial step, approach custom to say, here are my trademarks, here are the most counterfeited products, here are and you can attach pictures, here's the trademark certificate or the IP right that they enjoy, and say, please help me protect my brand against counterfeiting. And the goods will be detained on that basis and be processed naturally on that basis. And the same goes for open market. The police will do raids and the suspect will be processed through the criminal courts. When it comes to, of course, Kenya, obviously we work with the ACA for open market, but what is impressive is the ACA is currently in the process of implementing a recorder system, which, if implemented correctly, will assist a lot in the fight against counterfeiting of goods. So that is essentially what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Kenya does a multi-agency inspections or multi-agency operations that we manage. ACA becomes a new agency in terms of counterfeits. We have IPR agents, or the IPR owners themselves, who make complaints on any infringement of their products. So whenever they come to us, we always register their complaints, receive them, register, and prepare them for action. Now, once that is done, we always do a multi-agency. We call in our customs, we call in Kenya Bureau of Standards, we call in the Pharmacy and Poison Board, we also call in the agents themselves for purposes of doing an operation. So for us, we do a multi-agency operations, customs, DCI, NPS, which is public health, all of us do the same. The reason being, we want to do a visit to a given premise to ensure that it complies with the law. If there are issues of counterfeits, the counterfeit officer is going to deal with them. If there are issues of public health, we have public health officers to deal with them. If it is a customs issue, we have customs to deal with that. If it is those who are not paying our taxes, it will be done by those customs and the others. If it's an issue of further investigations, we have DCI who can do us better investigations around there. Then all those government agencies deal with one thing at the same time. So that tomorrow you don't find Kenya Bureau of Standards coming to your premise, and then the next day you have public health, the next day ACA will come, but you want to do it as one. So that is what we are projecting as a country, as Kenya, to do our operations. So those ones are the ones that we do, and that is our practice. So I want to invite Osman. Osman was just walking. He is the moderator of this session. I've just stepped in while he was still coming. So Osman, we are done with the experiences. Yes. We are done with our experiences. Yes. I think the next thing that we need to do, we want to see the strategies that we use in enforcement. So you can proceed and ask on the strategies.
Thank you very much, intro and also to step in. I'm very sorry that I accompanied the delegates to exhibition and I was not able to come on time because we are also taking so many questions. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to this session on policy, regulation and enforcement. And I'm sure that our guests, starting from Paul Ramara. Paul Ramara is one of the IPR agents based in South Africa, and we had quite a number of exercises and operations on enforcement of IP together with him. We have guests from international guests from Japan, and we have Mr. Hara. I hope you have introduced himself.
Introduced all of them.
So I think, literally, in short, what we want to do is that we want to talk about the policy issues. And I want to take them through in terms of what are the best policy measures that each and every institution has put in place to combat counterfeit. And I want to start with Madam Abir to give us an insight on any policy issues in terms of counterfeiting that has taken place in your jurisdictions in terms of an IPR agent or brand protection. Kindly.
Thank you. I would like to highlight this subject from a brand owner perspective. So I want to take you in a journey how brand owners look at brand protection, what is our policies, and how our coordination with the public sector. First of all, my name is Abir Wassouf. I am the Global Anti-Counterfeit Council for Danfoss. Danfoss is a Danish company. We are 42,000 employees worldwide, and we are in cooling, heating, power solutions, and drives. And Kenya is very, very important country and jurisdiction for us. A fun fact for me, I did the Kilimanjaro in 2018. And this is something, that's why Africa is so close to my heart, and I'm very happy to be here. Enforcement strategy, main players are law, legislation, law enforcement authorities, brand owners, right holders, private sector, or private practice like Mr. Paul and law firms, And international bodies like the Interpol, the WCO, which is World Customs Organization, the UN as well, they have a department for IP. So we all work hand in hand. Without all these players, there is no enforcement. So from a right holder, from us, how we look at brand protection, or how we look at enforcement. We look at enforcement that we have zero tolerance against counterfeit products. So we take action even if the quantity is small. And we invest in the high priority, of course, the most counterfeited products, and we register our rights wherever we can. And wherever, of course, none of the brand owners can register their trademarks everywhere, or IP or patent everywhere. So we choose the countries where there are high priorities, and Kenya is very high priority, has very high priority, and most of the African countries. And for us, our stakeholders, they look at anti-counterfeit work as business growth. So we clean the market, and then our business or our investment in the country will go high. From law enforcement authorities, I believe that we all here in this room and in this conference, I would like to thank ACA because all of us are IP, professional, and we contribute to enhance the law and make sure that the law is developed, and we share best practices, so we use our experience to make the procedure and the enforcement better. I want to say about UAE. UAE is one of the countries where I lived in for 17 years, and UAE is always strive to enhance their law. And I take it as an example because in any of the conferences, they take recommendation, and this recommendation, they don't go with the wind. They just take really our comments and our recommendation in practice. And they recently did change the law to enhance the enforcement. Awareness and training. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, ACA arranged for training, and which I feel and I think this was a brilliant and excellent step. As I said to you, partnership with the international bodies like European Union, Interpol, WCO, embassies. We all here as well to fight corruption, because we know some of the countries we have a problem with corruption, but at the same time, from my point of view, I started working in IP in 2007. If I compare, I think we are going in the right direction, and the corruption is much less than when I first started in the Middle East and Africa. As well, as I said to you at the beginning, partnership. We are partners with the public sector, and we respect them, we appreciate them. We always travel to say thank you and to say do appreciation meeting and say thank you so much for taking care of our trademark enforcement. Exchange intelligence, like I said to you at the beginning, with the case between UAE, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, cross-border cases are very important. And the success of this case I shared with you highlights that really the cooperation was excellent, and we did deal with the customs, which is, as Mr. Paul said, is the first line of defense. We dealt with the police, we shared information with the police, and with the economic department in UAE, which is the administrative authority. Exactly the same we dealt with in Jordan, we dealt with customs and police, and then in Saudi Arabia. And it was one of the significant cases that I always refer to as very, very successful. As I said to you, my recommendation to get other authorities involved as well in the cases, like tax revenue, like health and safety as well. This makes the cases more strong and more effective. Again, this is from our perspective. No protection, no enforcement, there is no business growth, and this reflects, unfortunately, to the country that there is no investment. All the brands, they want to invest in the countries like Kenya, But unfortunately, if there is no enforcement, there is no growth, no investment. But I have to say, in Kenya, we are investing heavily in employment. We employ from Kenya, University of Kenya. We recruit freshly graduated students, and we are super happy with them. And we look forward to invest more. Thank you.
Try to combat counterfeit. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Abia.
Thank you.
For giving us a snapshot of presentation in terms of enforcement operation that we have conducted and the milestones in terms of IP protection. What I wanted to ask maybe Mr. Haran is what is the institutional framework that you have put in place in Japan? Institutional frameworks that you have put in place in Japan to fight
I think I'm talking about it later in my slide.
Yes.
But in my case, from a Japan Patent Office under the Ministry of Economy, and as you know, the Ministry of Economy doesn't have any enforcement authority. So what we can do as a Japan Patent Office is to work together with our partner authorities like customs organization and also police and judiciary. So we are holding, for example, regular meetings amongst those enforcement agencies, and we are coordinating those meetings so that we can take a concerted approach to any issues arising from Japanese market. So that's how we work.
Do you want to present something to the participant?
Yeah.
You can do.
Okay. I'm sharing my presentation with my colleague, Mr. Maki. So I'd like to explain about our office firstly, and secondly, our activities. And thirdly, I think this is the most important thing, is to collaborate with our industries. And we have a group of companies which is called IIPPF. And also, lastly, we talk about collaboration with law enforcement agencies in Japan. So this is the structure of Japanese governmental ministries and agencies, which are in charge, collectively in charge of IP enforcement. As you see here on the left-hand side, we are under the overseas, used to be called the anti-counterfeiting, but we named it last year. And so we are working together with several agencies of Japan, like on the top, on the right-hand side, there's a National Police Agency. We are working together in the field of criminal investigation. And also, under the Ministry of Finance, there's a customs office. So we work together with finance, and so on. So it's necessary for us to work together because we don't have any enforcement power. So we need their help to take any measures in this field. And this is our activities. So we work to cope with counterfeiting issues in close collaboration with private sector and also public sector. So of course, nowadays, most of the counterfeiting activities are happening cross-border, in a cross-border manner. So we need to work also with international partners like anti-counterfeit. ACA, for example, is a very international partner that we can work together to fight this problem. And concretely, I'd like to just mention briefly about our activities. One is we answer any inquiries from the public regarding the counterfeiting activities happening in the market. And also we work for the, especially for the Japanese small and medium-sized enterprises, because they lack the resources to cultivating. So we need to raise awareness of their management, and we sometimes need to support financially to take any action in this field. And regarding the collaboration with Japanese industries, I touched upon before, but we have a group of companies called International Intellectual Property Protection Forum. And this group of companies was established by our ministry in 2002 to work together to fight against counterfeiting issues. And the activity is funded by our office. IPPF is willing to work with international organizations to address this slide. There are major brand owners. They are all members of our group of companies.
We might not be able to go directly to the areas that we are interested in terms of policy.
Is that from the enforcement strategies that have been put in place in your country, what are recommendations for effective enforcement that take place in your country to ensure that we are at par with the international laws? What are the areas that you have harmonized in terms of effective enforcement operations, taking into consideration the international treaties and conventions that need to be domesticated in the country for effective protection of IP? Areas, right? If you have the presentation, areas that you will be able to share with us.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I have a presentation, but it needs to be put up. But I can speak to the question, off the cuff. Like I indicated, in South Africa, I mean, we have signed the TRIPS agreement, and in compliance with the TRIPS agreement, we have a special legislation to deal with counterfeiting. It's called the South African Counterfeit Good Act. Amongst its other provision, it makes provision for collaboration with customs, which is very important. And by virtue of that, we really have 3 government agencies that are really key in the fight against counterfeiting. We have customs, we have the police, we also have the Department of Trade and Industry, which is actually the custodian of the legislation. Now, for anyone wanting to fight counterfeiting, customs is your first line of defense, because they are the people that are at the port of entry. They are already institutionalized. They have the framework at various ports of entry. They are the first people to come into contact with these counterfeits. So for that reason, if you as a brand holder have problems with counterfeit, you have to register a recorder program with customs. And you provide them with the images of the goods, you provide them with the copies of the your registered trademarks, and your most counterfeited goods. And customs will then be your eyes and ears for anything coming into the country. And of course, customs cannot prevent all goods from going into the country. We know that their role is also to collect duties and to also facilitate trade. And of course, like in South Africa, some of the other countries are landlocked, so they use South Africa as a transit point. So we have to facilitate that. So some counterfeit goods can go into the market. And that is when the police play a role. They will, on filing of complaints, conduct search and seizure operation or raids as we know that. and whenever a raid is conducted, the person will be processed, and a criminal case will then be instituted against the suspect, and from there on, either the suspect will be found.
To the home ground in terms of enforcement practices, we have been informed that the front line in terms of IP protection is customs, which is true. But we have a very unique institution called Anti-Counterfeit Authority, which is prime objective and mandate is to combat counterfeit, which is related to IP crime. Kindly elaborate to the participant the best practices and measures that have been put in place by the authority to combat counterfeit.
We use enforcement to combat counterfeits. Our law is very clear on fighting counterfeits, and therefore there are offenses to that effect, and therefore the first strategy that we have is to ensure that we have teams that will go to the field, do an inspection, intercept any goods, record statements, and send any other person maybe to court or prefer charges wherever it is possible. So that is the first strategy that we have as Anti-Counterfeit Authority to fight counterfeits. The second one is we have automated our systems. Currently, we have an automated anti-counterfeit information management system, AIMS, the one that we launched this morning here. This is a system that is going to change our enforcement operations. As an IPR agent, or as an IPR owner, or as a consumer, wherever you are, you can be able to report on counterfeiting. You just log into our system, whether you want to be anonymous, whether you want to be yourself, whether you want to report anything. Therefore, you can be able to log into our system and report on counterfeits, and you pick it from there to enforce. However, we are looking at that. Our law envisages compulsory recordation of any items to be imported into Kenya. It is a bit controversial, but we might amend it. But it is working for us as a country. Such that if you want to do an importation, we report. You tell us you want to import this item. It is from China. We'll be able to have a system where we can see what we are importing. And in case we feel that it's counterfeit, we have a way of intervening before they are imported into our country. So that is recordation, the third strategy that we have. The fourth one is the multi-agency operations that I had explained earlier to you. We do our operations as a multi-agency. That is a strategy that we have as an enforcement. And the fifth one is, as Kenya, as a country, there is something that we call One Kenya Government Mark that is in progress. It is not yet there, but it is in progress. Such that all goods in future will have a One Kenya mark. The one that we have, or the second last one, is the public awareness that we are doing. Right here, we are doing public awareness. We call you, educate you on what we are doing so that you can support us to fight counterfeits. Then the last one is on compounding. Not all cases must go to court. There should be a system where we can have alternative dispute resolution. So as an authority, we have had that system whereby we can deflect some cases out of court and then be settled out there once and for all. So this is what we call compounding. As a suspect, you're supposed to apply for compounding to the executive director, who is going to look at your application. It is processed through certain parameters, then you are given a sentence. A sentence means you'll be given an order which you must pay for destruction, or at least, how do I put it? At least an order for sentencing comes in. If it is, if you had goods maybe worth 50,000 or 100,000, then the executive director will give an order that you pay, you forfeit the goods to the state for destruction, at the same time you pay for destruction, and the goods are destroyed. So that is what we call compounding, which is key. Those are the few strategies that we have, and maybe we need you to give us more so that we can be able to incorporate into this
system, so that you just put one mark that will be able to take care of all the government bodies, so that we can be able to vote. So as a consumer or the end user, you will be able to authenticate from that other end to know that this one has passed the hands of the government. So it is a very elaborative exercise that we are looking forward to. Now, my question will go to Maki in terms of fighting counterfeit through the collaborative effort of the agency and border control. My question will be, in terms of the collaborative effort in your country, what are the measures that are put in place, probably to ensure that there is no porous borders? I think there is a lot of porous borders across each and every country. What are the measures that have been put in place to ensure that goods that are coming through the porous borders are well educated and they are able to be safe for the country? Is there any measures that have been put in place in terms of border control measures?
I think risk management is also important. Due to globalization, a huge number of products are exported and imported. So Japan Customs cannot inspect them all. So therefore, Customs has to decide which cargo to inspect from among many cargos. So Customs analyzes information obtained from verification procedures and provided by right holders and so on. So by analyzing the information, Customs can understand which cargo has risk and trends on counterfeit goods. So depending on the risk level, it will be decided whether to inspect or not. So risk management contributes to the effective IPR border enforcement.
Thank you, Mr. Monkey. My question will go to Abi.
Yes.
Now that the issue of porous borders have been addressed, we find goods in the market through two systems. Through the physical market, where we have goods in the market, business premises, and the trend is now emerging where we have online marketing. What measures do you think, and what are the areas that can be enhanced in terms of fighting counterfeit through the online and the physical? Quite a number of enforcement operations, conventional operation has been quite cumbersome. So what are the effective way of dealing with counterfeit through online vis-a-vis?
I think online become increasingly popular, and the sell online is really, in terms of customers, they prefer to shop online. This is a fact at the moment. Number two is the traders online, they try to hide behind the screen. So what we do as a company, we recruit a third-party company to filter these online platforms and give us the information, the data. So we have two choices. Number one, either we take down the listing in these companies from these platforms, or sometimes if we feel that we do some online investigation, if we feel like the online information or online traders, they can lead to offline investigation, we encourage this step. So number one strategy is to take out the listings, take down the listing. Number two, which is in my, I believe it's more effective, we move the investigation from online to offline. So, so from online to offline. How we do that? We recruit, of course, professional companies that they communicate with the traders, they order samples online, and then we receive the samples and we start locating where are these traders are, and we do investigation, we do raids with the police or with the economic department, which is administrative, it's like ACA. It depends on the strategy. So if we take it through economic department, which is administrative, that the goods will be seized and will be destroyed and the trader will be fined. If we want to take it to court, to criminal route, we take it through the police, and then we raid the premises and we take the traders to court, and then later on, of course, we have the option of civil court cases. So yeah, this is our strategy in terms of online and offline products. Thank you.
Thank you. highlight to us, probably maybe enlighten the participant on the challenges and success in online counterfeiting in Kenya. And let's try to give us some practical examples of what we have done.
The contact that you have is within you and your books, isn't it? So my biggest challenge is that because everything that we do currently is factual. The platform which we are using is not within Kenya yet. You can have a platform that is in China, is in Japan, is in US. So we are not in control of the platform. So whenever we want to get details, we want to get the transactions that you are doing, we have to write, even if you get a court order, where do you submit? See, that's the challenge. If it is good, if it is those killing ones and all those, I mean, Jumia, how do I serve them? So my own challenges are gone to DCI. We are able to collaborate on how to get, to serve them, to give us the information that we have. It is very hectic. The reason being, the platform is not giving. So that is the first challenge that I have. The second challenge is we want to trace the money because the money is paid factually. If you want to get the crime, follow what? Follow the money. So that is where we are trying to go. We follow the money, you go through your M-Pesa, you pay into a platform, it gets into, and then others also find their way outside there. You find that you paid through another system, then you paid through another system. So it is a challenge. Then the challenge is now manpower, the hardware that we have here. That is the staff that we have. We have to retrain them to look into these new issues that are coming. So this is my personal challenge that I'm just sharing. Those are the challenges that we have. Therefore, we have to retrain our staff to be able to look into these online challenges. How do you retrain them? We have to look for systems. We have to look for knowledge. We have to employ afresh to be able to look at e-commerce. So by that, they have motorbikes which they make their deliveries right from their own homes. Yet I'm seated here ready to enforce. So those are the challenges of this e-commerce that you're seeing here. Those are my personal challenges that we're trying to look at.
And then the thing, the other comment was, you mentioned, yeah, this is a story that many people tell. You mentioned, you don't repeat your story, but people also talk about Switzerland. You mentioned about Japan when it started, like in motor vehicle industry. They imported Ford cars from Henry Ford assembly line in the US. Then they started to do what? To do maintenance, to understand. Then they did repair. Then later on they went to doing what they called manufacturing some basic components like exhaust pipe. They didn't go the way we did with the Nyayo Pioneer. But they went stage by stage. Now you know where Japan is in the motor vehicle industry. Yeah, I did not tell that. You know what it means. Switzerland, China and US also have a different story about them, but your story is also very good. Switzerland, for a long time, did not have pharmaceutical patents. And the idea was to help develop the industry. The US, for a long time, did not protect intellectual property and arguing that they were a developing country. And I don't support them. Some, but reverse engineering is not sometimes okay. Yeah? Reverse engineering sometimes okay to some extent. But especially if it's for research and it's for experimentation. This school, university students. So, and even if we wanted to use that model of let's just ignore intellectual property of other people and we need to grow, let's just counterfeit. The problem is that SIPS is there. And that's one of the reasons why we read, both of us read so many international agreements that Kenya is a part. If we try to do that, we will be taken to the WTO dispute resolution system and we will pay for it. But my last point on this generally is this. Really, do we want to have a culture of counterfeiting? of faking, even if it's other people's. China for a long time also faked, especially with other people's, up to 1980s, 1990s, as a policy. But now when they started developing their own capability, they are at least protecting their own, although they may not be protecting foreign as much, but now they're also protecting foreign. The problem is that if you develop a culture of thieving, counterfeiting, faking, when will this culture end? And it will kill your own people. Counterfeits kill. In medicine, in fake, fake spare parts, they kill, don't they? So I think let's just go the route of encouraging intellectual property, balance intellectual property protection. Let the innovator get the people who are doing legal get their, let the consumer also get a reasonable price. That's the balance that we are expected to do under Article 27 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Let the innovator get their benefits. Let the consumer get their benefits. A balancing act. And the consumer also requires human rights.
A lot of applause for the panelists. So, Dr. Nyamagoda, I'm sure you will answer. Can we take two more questions? I can start with mine. I sense the person at the middle is actually the consumer. The innovator is on one side, but there has to be a market for the counterfeiter. What do we do to ensure that the consumer is part of our game to stop the counterfeit? And have we developed enough laws, regulations to ensure to enable the consumer to make decisions on stopping the counterfeit? Any other question? Yes. Introduce yourself and your question.
Okay, my name is Rosemary.
A little louder.
You could stand up and then.
I wanted to ask, my name is Rosemary. I wanted to ask this. I don't know what it means. How can consumers identify counterfeit products?
Okay, that's part of it. Yes. Any other question? Thank you, Rosemary. Any other question? Okay. Panelists, you can take those two out. Do you have the team online?
I'd say that consumers, we are consumers in one way or another. So I think it begins by public awareness. I wouldn't say that the laws are not. If you look at the Anti-Counterfeit Act, it is very clear on the punishment when you are dealing with counterfeit products. So I think the laws are clear, but awareness and sometimes also our, I know this we may not be able to touch on it. Sometimes your finances, you're not able to reach the quality products, and you want to, get something that is cheaper. So I think it is also a culture issue. Where you get something that is cheaper and move on. But I think we need to get to, improve our culture and also get aware. We make everyone aware that whatever you're consuming, even on health issues, like the one for the alcohol, 59% people are consuming alcohol that is, counterfeited. It poses a question on, their health and their well-living. So I think public awareness is very, very critical on that matter. Yeah, I think that's how I'll put it. I don't know, Prof.
Yeah, I think the two questions are very close. They're not the same, but they're very close. The first one by our facilitator is how we place how the consumer can be part of the game in terms of helping solve the problems, and we have laws, etc., and laws, regulations, etc., etc. And the second is related to consumer identifying. As maybe, let me start with the second. We've just had, I think it was in the next room where we were talking about authentication, and some of us will revise the speeches and make them available even online. The issue is about the authentication, verification. How do you validation? How do you check that a product is actually legit? What is the process? We need therefore greater awareness, greater education, greater sensitization. And there's a judge who said that he was during the East African Court of Appeal days, when we were still in East Africa. A judge said that we should take into the court should take judicial notice that consumers in East Africa are largely illiterate. And I always ask my students in class, and even in this book I ask the question, so what? Because I think there is a problem. You can look at that problem in three ways. Number one, there is general illiteracy, but I would prefer oracy that most of us speak. We are more oral and we are more visual as Africans than we are in terms of writing, reading and writing. And so that could be general issues of oracy. And number two is that even if we are so-called illiterate, which I would call orate, as a villager, I was brought up in the village. I only came to Nairobi for university studies. As a villager, I used to know, and I still know, that many people who are orate still, some of the basic goods, they order them using chapa this, chapa simba, chapa that, which means actually that's trademark in IP law. And they know most of their, like matchbox 6, match 6 and stuff. They know most of salt, which brand, they know. So, but there can be a problem, and the judge may have been right. These days, there's a lot of technical and technological illiteracy because of developments in technology. That for some of us, we may not be sufficiently technologically literate to know what is the best smartphone. That's true, laptop. So some people can buy as fakes, or what Americans call lemons, etc., etc. So that's an issue. The other issue which is important in this awareness, I think related to your question on the consumer, is that there is a case in which the court said this. When consumers go to buy goods, they were focusing on goods, but that's not related to services. They don't go to the supermarket or the shop to study. And I always give my students an example of Oyo and Royco. So you are have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife, and you are sent, especially the man is sent, to buy Royco. Don't be surprised when they come with Oyo or a similar product. There are so many products. so many times it's a recognition to buy Nivea versus Nivelli. You know, and I'm glad that the court even said that these are so similar that no, they should not be left to. So that's why intellectual property and being intentional is very, very important. That some of us sometimes have to write down what product you are going to buy, because otherwise you are yourself going to get confused, and you may not easily blame. But sometimes you blame, but some of these you can blame both the manufacturer, the distributor, and the people who are selling them, because sometimes they are packaged in a way that can really confuse you. Intellectual property law doesn't say that all cooking oils should have a yellow in them, but because some people want to copy the leader, they go to the similar colors, etc. So that's the point. I think lastly is the issue of you should make consumers part of the center of this by reviewing our consumer protection laws and our competition law, and link them to intellectual property, innovation, tech transfer, as well as anti-counterfeiting. Let me just give you probably one example on this. Maybe it's because you are, after all, you are the facilitator. The Competition Act works as if the IP laws don't exist. There is no clear link with IP law and anti-counterfeiting. Yet to you and I, and it's very obvious. Consumer protection law is not closely linked enough to intellectual property. When I started work in intellectual property, that is the late 80s, some people used to say that intellectual property is about the elites, it's for the rich, etc., etc. It has nothing to do with consumers, and I've always argued since 1980s when I was a student and an intern that intellectual property helps consumer protection. When you deal in genuine goods, you are protecting the consumer. I leave it there. Thanks.
One thing is nobody knows about these products other than the manufacturer. And there should be a collaboration between, now that government agencies have training as part of theirs, and also as manufacturers we have training as part of our responsibility. So I think we can collaborate on that to try and make sure that the information is out there to the consumers on how to look for product safety, and also give more information on how to identify specific products versus the content. If you look at all the packaging, it's part of the labeling requirements, and you also have to provide the contact address to the customer or to the consumer. So you need to go out there and tell them anything you want to confirm, reach out to that contact, which is already, we have consumer care numbers by the manufacturers, and also the email address where you can now even call to be able to get this information, whether what you bought is exactly what is genuine. And of course, we always advocate that we provide a sample. Because you see, if we don't see, we cannot be able to guide you accordingly. Best examples, we've also been able to map some of them where the customer complains. Of course, there must be a complainant. Even ACA cannot do anything if there's no complainant. So if the complainant is already identified himself, so we take that and investigate and we always get back. That is what we stand for as a Association of Pharmaceutical Industry, amongst other innovator companies. Yeah? Our key focus is customer safety.
The standard you set is standard. A country can have so that standard. And even yourself can have your own standard, depending on what you want. So what I'm asking is that if, for instance, we put our very strong standard in Kenya, let wipe out of it. Because I think once we have the standard, even if I'm making a wine, there's a standard which is already set. So if I go contrary to the other point of reference, it means that I'm not giving the right standard. Because let's say, for instance, wine is made by many factors. But what requires a country? Alcohol content, water content, all those aspects or parameters, so that we have our own standard, so that we are able to protect. Because basically, even the forms, if you check the forms, all components which I said, the form is very similar. But the only thing is the standard. If Chinese are producing a product, they produce the consumption. They produce for African country because we have our own country, our standard, which can be Africans. They produce for their own market, and also they produce for European standard. So are we failing our standard, or are we failing in which area?
So the other challenge is on issues to do with report. I'm just talking about liquor and how serious it has been. We realized a weakness in terms of reporting, so that when you report that there is a counterfeiter who's operating in a certain place, this is Kenya. So that enforcement authority or officer gets a place where he can get mtaji. Amepata mahali penye atakuwa kikula. And that is why we came up with an organization which is called Brand Protection, where the bar is a major source of intelligence information, including any other crime. So in this case, we formed an organization by the name Brand Protection, where we can report to our own internal mechanism that can share or work closely with the enforcement agencies to ensure that we are able to net. So the other thing, of course, is partnership. From here onwards, we'll have an engagement, which is something we've already conversed with anti-counterfeit, where we'll go around, pair, and train our people. The other thing, of course, is the legal fights. And this is why we have a challenge. with actually even the anti-counterfeit authority. And I would like to put it on Professor. How many counterfeit court cases have we won? How many have you prosecuted successfully? That has really been a challenge, because the same case, there is no knowledge, there is little knowledge for enforcement. The same case even to a judiciary, I'm sorry to say that. Let me not be quoted. But the same case we've been losing. A person is arrested with counterfeits. These are a case that we have in Naivasha. He was arrested with counterfeits worth 10 million. When he was taken to the magistrate court, he was released by a bond of, I think, 50,000. So what is easy? Pay the bond, go back and continue with the business. And that has really been a challenge. So of course, it is good I say this without fear of contradiction. It is the National Bar Owners Association that lobbied to ensure that 23 manufacturers of liquor, whom we suspected were practicing illicit and counterfeits, to ensure that a fresh vetting is done on them. And even as we're talking, I don't think that vetting is, we're already through with it. And the question that we asked, what did the previous regime see that it did shut down 23 manufacturers of liquor, that this regime didn't see that it opened them? And I'm happy to say that we've been able to work together with the current regime and ensure that a fresh vetting is on them. And I think the same way engineer is saying, standards for the 23 manufacturers, I think it is time that they're going to meet the standards. And there is no shortcut and there is no politics about this.
Participants and presenters, I think we are coming to a close of this session. Chairman, to clap 5 times, 4 times, 3 times. Isn't it? Yeah, I think those who have gone to math classes will not factorials. Yeah. Those who have not gone, they are voting. So let's do 5. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. That's for the presenters. Let's give ourselves another 5 factorials again. 1, 2, 3. Start. No. Let's say 1, 2, 3. Start. Thank you very much, gentlemen.